to tell you a story about a young man who grew up on a farm. The year was 2000. It was a hot summer. He was just back from Cornell University, studying agricultural business. He loved playing football. That was his sport. Couldn't wait to get back to it next year at college. Over the summer, he hung out with his friends quite a bit. They went out every night to have a few laughs, have a few drinks. He was enjoying life. He was back home to help his stepfather do work on the farm. Really loved working there. Not to say it was easy, but he was always happy to come home and help his folks out, no matter what he had to do. He loved working with the calves especially. He also loved the smell of the freshly cut grass. He wouldn't trade it for the world. One day, while working with his stepdad on the farm, they were cutting grass, and the grass was a little damp, so that clogged the machine up, and they had to go in and clean it out by hand. As they're doing this, his stepfather says that he's gonna go and turn the machine on to try to start back up so they can get back to work.
Because the tractor's engine was running, he didn't hear what his stepfather said.
So he goes up, turns the machine on, right when he has his arm all the way in. It gets sliced up from here all the way up to right there. The next few moments were a blur of confusion, pain, a lot of panic. He and his stepdad race to the car and tear up the pavement in a desperate rush to the hospital. When they finally arrived, the paramedics took over, and after hours of surgery, his family was relieved to hear that he survived, but his right hand had to be amputated. And the truth is, this isn't just some random story. This is the story of my dad.
When I was in the hospital, when I first got to the emergency room, I was still conscious. And so I was trying to make jokes to put my family at ease because I knew it was a bad situation. While I was recovering from the incident in the hospital too, it took me that full 3 weeks to get used to the idea that, I've got this mangled mess of an arm that I'm going to be dealing with for the rest of my life. And it was a tough 3 weeks, not just recovering from the physical rehabilitation of the surgery itself, the skin grafts, but also getting my mindset right that this is going to be my life moving forward. So clearly I was in a tough spot. I was right-handed before the incident, and so I had to learn how to do everything with my left hand. So I had to learn how to write and be able to tie my shoes with one hand. I had to learn how to tie a tie with one hand. I had to learn how to cut my steak with just my stump and a hand. So adapting after the incident was difficult. All these little adjustments, you get used to it, you adapt to it, but it was difficult to get started on that path. So it's been 24 years, so I've adapted to having one hand quite well. But there are some things that still affect me day to day. One of those is phantom pains. They're sensations of a missing limb that come and go, no rhyme or reason to it, just something I have to live with for the rest of my life. I've got arthritis in my shoulder as a result of the injuries I sustained that day. And it can be a little awkward when I meet people for the first time and we go in for a handshake. They come in with the right hand and I have to adjust, or they feel awkward and they try to adjust. These are the annoyances that I have to live with in my life as a result of not stopping and taking a minute. If I had stopped to take a minute 24 years ago, I wouldn't have had to have gone through the horrible experience that I went through. My family wouldn't have had to go on that journey with me, and my stepdad wouldn't have the guilt that he has carried as a result of his part in the incident as well. So the stop and take a minute principle applies to everybody, whether you're working in one of our production facilities, if you're a colleague in a laboratory, or if you're on the road in the sales role calling on farms. There's hazards all around us, regardless of what situation we're in. I understand that it can be difficult to stop somebody. Speaking for myself, if somebody had stopped me 24 years ago and said, should you not turn the tractor off before you start working on the machinery? Should it still be hooked up to the machine? Those questions are important, so please stop and take a minute. It can be life-saving. Because I care, you care, we care.